Are you looking for a better way to understand life? Do you want to get smarter and choose better things? The famous warrior Miyamoto Musashi was good with both swords and talking to people. We'll learn 7 powerful ways to grow your inner wisdom in this movie. These ideas come from Musashi himself. Watch this video if you want to improve your thoughts, block out distractions, and see the world clearly. Let's start. Step 1. Question everything, even yourself. We don't become wise by taking everything we hear at face value. It is formed by being interested and constantly asking questions about everything, even ourselves. Musashi lived by this rule. He always pushed the edges of what he knew and never took things at face value. Before we can develop inner knowledge, we need to stop thinking in ways that are tied to our past. Our beliefs are shaped by our culture, customs, and even how we were raised. But how often do we question whether this is really true? It's possible that the ideas we hold came from people who never questioned them. A wise person looks for the truth, not the ease of things. Musashi believed in always looking at oneself. Do nothing that is useless, he said one time. This means getting rid of all the ideas, habits, and beliefs that aren't helpful. Throw away things that aren't useful or that don't serve a better purpose. This includes thought patterns, emotional baggage, and even interactions that don't help you grow. Certainty is the worst thing that can happen to knowledge. Once you think you know everything, you can't learn anything else. Instead, think like a beginner, always curious and ready to see things from a different point of view. Ask yourself, why do I believe what I believe? As a first step, where did this thought come from? Is it based on your own experience? Or was someone tell me it? You will start to see things more clearly if you make it a habit to ask questions. You will gain wisdom that you didn't get from other people, but that you won through your own understanding. Step 2. Detach from ego and emotions. Miyamoto Musashi won all 60 of his duels, but it wasn't just because he was skilled. It was also because he was very disciplined. He knew that feelings make it hard to make decisions, and that ego keeps us from seeing the truth. We need to learn to separate ourselves from both if we want to grow in our inner knowledge. Ego is the enemy of being wise. There is no listening, learning, or growth when we let pride guide our decisions. If we don't fix our mistakes, our ego makes us protect them. You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain, Musashi said to someone who was proud. This means we can always learn more, no matter how much we already know. Emotions can also get in the way of being wise. Feelings are normal, but they should never run our lives. While being aware of their feelings, a smart person does not let them control them. Musashi learned how to do this by training himself to stay calm and fight, never letting fear, anger, or pride affect how well he used his sword. To be more detached in your daily life, ask yourself, is this true when someone criticizes you? Instead of getting angry, instead of acting on your anger right away, pay attention to it. Take a step back and look at the situation sensibly, not emotionally, before making a choice. When we're not controlled by our emotions or our egos, we become wise. Detachment doesn't mean hiding our feelings. It means recognizing them without having them run our lives. Step 3. Learn from pain and failure. Life will always have pain, but how we deal with it is what makes us wise. Musashi went through a lot of hard times, but he learned from each one. Instead of letting failure define him, he used each mistake to improve himself and his way of thinking. A lot of people try to avoid failing. They think it shows how valuable they are. But smart people know that loss is the best way to learn. Every mistake, setback, and painful event has a lesson hidden inside it if we are ready to find it. Step by step, walk the 1,000-mile road, Musashi said one time. This means that you become wise by being patient. You won't become smart overnight. You have to be ready to go through pain, fail many times, and keep going even when things get hard. When bad things happen, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How does this make me stronger? What's going to be different next time? Even though pain only lasts a short time, the lessons it teaches can last a lifetime if you are willing to learn them. Step 4. Develop the art of observation. Not only was Miyamoto Musashi great with a sword, he was also very good at observing. He won not only because he was smarter than everyone else, but also because he could see things that others missed. He knew that thinking isn't the only way to become wise. You also need to watch, listen, and understand the world in a greater way. During fight, Musashi paid close attention to his opponents. He watched how they breathed, stood, and moved very slowly. In this way, he could see their strikes coming before they happened. But this skill wasn't just good for fighting. Musashi thought that the best way to learn about everything was to observe it. See what your eyes can't see was one of the things he wrote. Life is mostly blind to most people. They go about their day thinking about their own things and not paying attention to the little things going on around them. But smart people, those who learn how to observe, see things that other people miss. They can read people's body language, spot trends in how people act, and get to the bottom of things more deeply. You have to train yourself to see the world with new eyes if you want to grow in wisdom. Even though words can be misleading, a person's body language, facial emotions, and voice tone often tell you the truth. Watch how people act in various settings. You'll start to notice trends that shed light on how they feel and what they're thinking. A lot of people don't really listen because they're too busy thinking about what they want to say next. People who are wise take in information first before they speak. If you learn to listen carefully, you'll start to understand what people are really saying, not just what they say, but also what they mean. Slow down and take a look around instead of going through life automatically. Watch how people talk to each other. Pay attention to the outdoors, the little things, and the quiet times. If you pay attention, your mind will get smarter. Musashi thought that if you were good at observing, you would be good at living. You can only really understand if you can really see. And knowing something leads to being wise. Step 5. Balance logic with intuition. Being wise isn't just about gathering facts or going with your gut. It's also about balancing reasoning and intuition. Not only was Miyamoto Musashi great with a sword, he was also very good at planning ahead. To be successful, he had to understand both his logical mind and the deep instincts that led him in war and in life. This balance is hard for a lot of people. Some people depend too much on logic and expect proof for everything. They don't believe anything that can't be explained by logic. Others rely too much on their gut feelings and make snap decisions without giving them much thought. But to be truly wise, you need to know when to think things through and when to trust your inner voice. Musashi knew this very well. He trained hard, learning strategies, noticing patterns, and considering all the possible outcomes. But when he got into a fight, he didn't think twice. He just let his instincts take over. One time he said, "Know the way well, and you'll see it in everything." This means that your instincts can help you a lot once you have trained your mind well. To find this balance in your own life, you should first understand that both reasoning and intuition are useful. Get knowledge, look at your options, and think critically before making big decisions. Don't just go by your thoughts. If you can't put your finger on what's right or wrong, pay attention. Your subconscious mind has often seen something that your aware mind has not. Use both reasoning and intuition to make small decisions, and then think about what happened. You'll get better at trusting both sides of your mind over time. Because he had learned logic so well, Musashi trained himself to act without thinking. It's not that he didn't use logic, but that his intuition and reason worked together perfectly. Learn to combine these two forces if you want to grow wise inside. This will help you see things clearly, boost your confidence, and let you make choices that will help you succeed. Step 6. Expose yourself to different perspectives. You can't get wise by yourself. Your understanding will stay limited as long as you only hang out with people who think, believe, and see things the same way you do. When you leave your comfort zone and see things from different points of view, you gain real knowledge. This was very clear to Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi didn't just follow one school of thought because he was a warrior. He went on trips, learned about different ways to fight, and talked to warriors from different cultures. He thought that strategy wasn't set in stone and that the best fighter changed and grew by taking what they learned from each battle. His ideas teach us that being closed off is weak and being open is strong. These days, it's simple to stay in a group of people who think like you do. A lot of the time, social media, the news, and even our friends and family members confirm what we already think. But if you want to become truly wise, you have to be open to different points of view, even ones that make you think. You don't have to agree with everything you hear, but when you think about other points of view, you learn more about the world. Read things that aren't usually for you. Read books about history, philosophy, psychology, or even countries you don't know much about. Read books written by people who have had different thoughts and experiences than you do. Talk to people who have different ideas than you do. Instead of avoiding arguments, be interested in them. Talk to people. Don't just try to make your point, try to understand. Go on trips or spend time in new places. People who have lived in different ways know that there is no one right way to think or live. Realizing that the world is big and complicated makes you wise. Allow things to change. If new knowledge goes against what you believe, don't fight it out of pride. Instead, think about it and learn from it. Musashi taught that the only way to become perfect is to keep learning. When you want to grow in knowledge, you have to be open to seeing things from different points of view. Step 7. Live with purpose, not just knowledge. A person is not smart just because they know something. Putting what you know to use, living with purpose, and making sure your actions match your views are all signs of real wisdom. Miyamoto Musashi didn't just study strategy. He lived his whole life making use of it. His theory tells us that being wise isn't about getting more information. It's about living a meaningful life. A lot of people learn things their whole lives, but never use what they've learned. They read books, watch movies, and ask for help, but they don't change what they're doing. This is what makes smart people different from wise people. Smart people know the way, but wise people actually walk it. Musashi knew this very well. See what you can't see with your eyes, he said years ago. This means going beyond theory and getting to the heart of things through practice. If you want to grow real inner knowledge, you need to ask yourself, am I using what I've learned in real life? Do my deeds match what I believe and what I value? Do I have a plan for my life, or am I just going along? Making a living with a reason means having a clear path to follow. Goals that are in line with your values and choices that are based on knowledge rather than emotion are what it means. Musashi lived his life with control, focus, and a strong sense of what he was supposed to do. Even when he was by himself, he trained hard and never wasted time on things that didn't matter. Being passive, which means waiting for the right time, thinking too much, and never doing anything, is one of the worst things that can happen to you. Musashi believed in making decisions and being able to change. He knew that life doesn't wait, and we shouldn't either. Start living with purpose today if you want to become wiser. Ask yourself every day, what did I learn today? How can I use it? Am I living by my most important values? Are I moving toward my goal? Or am I just existing? How you live your life is what makes you wise, not what you know. Use what you've learned, be disciplined, and move forward with a plan. This is Musashi's way. This is the way to real knowledge inside.